Hey, welcome back to Shadow Shorts. If we've never met before, my name is Jeff Echols. I am a senior advisor and the head of marketing for Shadow Partners. And every weekday, I bring to you a short conversation with an expert or a thought leader in the realm of innovation for the built environment. And today is no different. I am joined today by Danielle Dy Buncio. She is the co-founder and the CEO of VIATechnik. And I have had the opportunity to talk with Danielle about certainly about things technical, certainly about things in the realm of BIM and all of the things that AEC firms use to deliver their designs, et cetera. But recently, we were talking about the people, right, and how innovation and technology affects the people, and um, the people are a big part of the equation. And so I thought maybe we could jump into a conversation about not only innovation and technology, but the people
Yeah,
related to innovation and technology in the AEC and built environment. So Danielle, thank you for joining me and welcome. Glad you're
of
here.
course. Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. Excited to be here.
Excellent. So you're based in Chicago. We were reminiscing about Chicago things before we went live. Um, when you look out across the landscape, of course, you and via Technic, you're just immersed in technology and new technology, emerging technology. But as you were telling me, there are things like culture of innovation, and there are things like knowledge transfer, and how we're going to progress through the next generations in applying this technology and what it's going to mean. So, as you look across the landscape, what's your biggest concern about technology and the people that are involved?
Yeah, so as I look across the landscape, VIATechnik's in an interesting position because we're hyper focused on the built environment, on the construction, the real estate industries, and how those industries use technology to advance their business outcomes. So as I look across the landscape and get that pulse on like what the owners care about, what general contractors
Mhm.
care about over and over and over again, comes up one of the industry's biggest problems right now is labor, is our people. And it's really interesting because I think when you talk to the C-suite at these companies across the industry, and maybe it's, even outside of our industry, and you start to ask, what's your greatest asset? What's your competitive advantage, right? What differentiates you from your competitors? It's the people.
Right.
But then if you ask a CEO, like what keeps them up at night, especially in the construction industry right now, it's also the people. And we are almost at this like precipice where some of the challenges in the industry is facing with people are like coming to a head. It's not sustainable, right? Like we have a labor shortage. And then compounding that labor shortage, we have an aging and like soon to be retiring workforce, right? And so that labor problem is going to only get more challenging. And so, from my perspective, I think it's time that the industry start thinking differently about how to solve those challenges, right? I think I think initiatives around recruiting the right people to the industry, recruiting the next generation, recruiting diverse talent, diverse ideas to the industry are vital, right? But that's almost like the baseline. And I think that now what needs to be added to that conversation is how technology can be used to solve some of those people problems. Um, and like happy to dive into that, but wanted to pause and see some of your thoughts first.
I think those are great points, and when we think about the technology, one of the things that comes up all the time, AI is sort of the everybody wants to talk about AI. KP Reddy, who's the CEO of Shadow Partners, is I
Okay, Jeff, I lost your sound for a second here.
sorry, my mic cut out there again.
No problem.
Um, KP Reddy, who's the CEO of Shadow Partners, I get to field a request, and he gets requests probably once a week, once every other week, to come and talk to some group about AI. And a lot of people as we know, are looking, look at the OpenAI or ChatGPT
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tools that are out there, and they're wondering, is my job going to get replaced? Are architects or engineers, et cetera, are they going to become irrelevant because of AI? So that's an um, an easy thing to wonder about. But if we're looking at these things as tools and thinking about how our people can use these tools, as you're looking at it and saying, okay, well, these are the tools we build at VIATechnik. These are the things that we use. How do you think specifically about the technology and how people are using the technology and what the future of those people is?
So I can speak to the technology more broadly, but to hit on your AI point first, I view AI as an opportunity to augment our people.
Okay.
And I think one thing that AI can really be used for is really powerful is decision making, right? And as we navigate our careers in the built environment, if you distill down what we're doing like every day, right, it's making a decision, right?
Mhm.
Like, what's my sequencing for my construction project? A change happens. And this is an important one, right? Like, a change happens. How do I react to that effectively? And so, a big thing for VIATechnik is this idea of through data, through digital workflows, empowering our clients to make high quality, high velocity decisions, right? And the impact that making better, faster decisions can have on our industry is huge. AI can help us do that. And I think that in the context of the labor shortages, it's actually really powerful to start to think about how do you get more from your people by augmenting them with AI.
Mhm.
So I think it's something that companies should start to educate themselves on, should start to, build awareness, but also not be afraid of it. Um, and I think what's really important for companies in the construction industry today is to start to build the foundation such that they can take advantage of AI properly. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to get there without having a really good data foundational layer. And so when we integrate into our projects and into our clients' companies, it's often around how do we digitize workflows that maybe historically were analog. As they're digitized, how do you start to like connect that data, visualize it, analyze it, and get insights from it? When you're moving from data to insights, then how do you take action from it? Because that's the big thing, right? Like, if it's telling you and helping you with decisions, but you don't actually make the decision, right? Or if you don't learn how to move faster or move differently, it's not going to have that impact. So today, I encourage people to think about it, just to kind of recap, as like an augmentation tool for our people, which is vital in the context of the labor shortage, and to start building the foundation to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Those are really good points. And you're talking about decision making. And if we think about the value of an architect or the value of a contractor or the value of whoever it is, right, wherever they are in the realm of the construction and real estate industry, that's what clients are paying you for,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
If the clients had the knowledge and could make the decisions on their own, then they wouldn't need you. And so why not use these tools, as you said, as augmentation and help make better, faster decisions? That's bringing more. And the way that I'm looking at it is bringing more value to your clients if you look at it from that point of view.
They're paying us for that decision making, for that knowledge, our insights. But really, at the end of the day, I think what they're also paying us for is the outcomes.
True.
And that's where we fall short sometimes, right? Like, I don't think we need to go into it too much, right? But like, it's every day that you see a project's over budget, behind schedule. What's
Yeah.
super interesting to me now is starting to see that it's people outside of the construction and real estate industries that are also talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you'll see a Wall Street Journal or New York Times article about how mega projects fail to meet construction and schedule, right? Or sorry, construction budget and schedule. And so I think it's also really important to think about those outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you were talking about data and insights earlier as well. And so if I have the data, right, if I have real time data that's showing me, my Gantt chart or whatever is sliding, that helps me in those realms, right? If I have the data, I have the insights, and now I'm making decisions based on that. gives me maybe a fighting chance to stick with budget and schedule, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I think from our perspective, we're really seeing those digital workflows and those data insights drive value, tackling people problems, I think in two major ways, right? So, sort of thinking about this problem like ahead of our call, Jeff. um, Two of the most powerful ways I've seen companies really move forward. One is feeding the field with accurate digital information so that very quickly they're building the right thing. They're building the right thing the first time, so reducing rework, and they're building it more efficiently, right? Which means that we're reducing the burden on our people and potentially even reducing the number of people we need on those job sites. Right. And so BIM 100% is the foundation of that. And I love some of the advancements that we've seen, right? Like the dusty robotics of the world that are taking good BIM information and bringing that to the field in digital ways. And so, that's something that we've really been thinking about. How through digital workflows do you problem solve ahead of time? How do you get from design to something that's actually constructible? And how do you get that information into the hands of the field quickly and efficiently? The other thing we've been seeing, which actually led to like an investment in VIATechnik creating our own tool, is how do you scale knowledge across people, right? How do you scale knowledge from me to you? How do I scale knowledge from project to project? How do I scale knowledge from an individual or a team up to the enterprise? And to some extent, like even across those like boundaries of time. I've learned something yesterday. In 2 years, I'm going to encounter that. Construction definitely is an industry that like makes the same mistake twice. And so we launched a platform called Precogs, which is our knowledge digitization tool. It's aimed at giving construction companies good insights, sort of taking what people are learning on projects and getting it out across the organization. And that's also helping drive better outcomes.
Yeah, and that's critical, right? As we look at, still many firms, again, wherever they are in the AEC or world, many of these firms are managed by, run by, let's see, say a generation that's aging out, and then the younger generations are coming in very quickly, and my generation's sort of stuck in the middle. Um, so the younger generations are coming on quickly and moving up into these leadership roles, and will continue to. And there's got to be knowledge transfer, right? There's got to be the institutional knowledge and project knowledge and everything that you talked about. And I agree with you. I think that's going to be a critical need, probably for at least the next 5 to 7 years, I would think.
Absolutely. I had looked up a stat that shared 41% of today's construction workforce will retire in the next 7 to 8 years. So that's like a crazy amount when we probably need more people already. And I don't think we have a new 40% coming in that
Right.
7 to 8 years, right? And so that's going to just compound the need to transfer knowledge. And I think companies really need to start thinking like, all right, our people are our greatest asset. Our people are our competitive advantage. Well, how do you make sure that your competitive advantage doesn't like walk out the door,
Hmm.
right? When that person retires. We had a client that said something like, one of their seasoned superintendents, right? But one of their A players was retiring and they paid him for an extra 6 months to write down everything he knew. Right? Because they knew that once he retired, there were like exponential amounts of knowledge that were leaving their company, right? And so I love that that company took the initiative to do that, but there has to be a better way. And that
Yeah.
was really like the impetus for us to build this platform that just allows organizations to like scale that knowledge. And I think there's like another knowledge problem too that's probably less often talked about. It takes a really long time to learn in the construction industry, right? Like when I started my career, I started my career as a general contractor, project management, right? Like typical career path, project engineer, move up to project manager. My first job's like a year and a half. My second construction project's like 2.5 years, right? To go through 4 to 5 years of your job of your career in construction and maybe only be exposed to 2 projects, like, is a very normal thing, which means it takes a very long time to learn, which also means there's incredible benefit if it's not just like my 10 to 20 projects that I've been working on that's like feeding my actions in the field and feeding my actions as a project manager, but like those collective insights. And so I think that's like another way people should start sort of thinking differently about how to
Yeah.
tackle the people problem.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. As you were saying it, I was thinking about projects and that I was involved with in my past life, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, there was one that I remember that had been in the office when I started there out of school, been in the office for 2, 3, 4 years, and I know that it didn't finish completion until maybe just about 7 years ago. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell you how old I am, but that means that spanned probably 25 years.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
I gave you the perspective from, like, the construction side, but then look at that same example on the design side,
Yep,
and, maybe design cycle's that same length, but then it's years until it's built, right?
yeah.
So and that designer may or may not have gotten any knowledge from that construction project to bring with them to the
That's a
next
good point.
construction project,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
So
really good point.
we're like hammering on them because they're not giving us designs that are constructible, but like, have we set up a process? Have we given technology enablers that allow us to do that? And so yeah, when we work with our companies, I'm like, hey, we need a different mindset. We need to be creative. We need to be innovative about how we tackle the people problem. Because going back to what I said before, recruiting, bringing in the next generation of talent is super important, but that's the baseline. And now, how do we like take it further? I think we owe it to the built environment, back to those outcomes pretty unacceptable, right? To give our owners late and over budget projects. And so I believe that the opportunity exists within the people in our industry. And now it's going to be about like innovative and technology enablers.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. This is one of those conversations that could go on a long time, and I would
I'm sure.
love for it to go on a long time. But this is Shadow Shorts. So here's what I'd say. You're watching this, you're listening to this either live or in some time shifted manner, and you're saying, "Hey, this is a great conversation. I want it to go longer as well. I want to know more about it." Well, there is an opportunity for you that's coming up in October in Atlanta, October 24th to 26th. It's the seventh annual Shadow Summit, and we're going to take topics like this. We're going to take topics like innovation, which is a big, broad word. We're going to talk about machine learning and AI. We're going to talk about uh, uh, industrialized construction and many more topics uh, revolving around technology and innovation for the built environment. So think about joining us for Shadow Summit in October. Shadowsummit.com is a website for that. It is a purposefully small gathering, 200 tickets maximum. So get your ticket now. A lot of those are already spoken for. There's a button at the top of that page so that you can apply to attend. So shadowsummit.com is the place to go for that. If you want to know more about what Danielle is talking about, and specifically their precog program, the URL is in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen right now. It's viatechnik.com/precog. And think Minority Report, I guess, but go to viatechnik.com/precog and see what VIATechnik is doing in terms of the people and the technology. Super interesting work going on there. And I guess I should also thank our sponsors for Shadow Summit. And there's room for more if you'd like to sponsor Shadow Summit. But thanks go out right now to Schneider Electric and NIBS, the National Institute for Building Sciences, both sponsors of Shadow Summit this year. So if you want to know more about sponsoring, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I can tell you more about that. And I'd invite you also to reach out to Danielle on LinkedIn, connect with her, and find out more about what's going on at VIATechnik and the work that they do there with their clients. Danielle, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been great, and we could just keep going on forever, but it's shadow short, so we need to end it.
Well, this was fun. Yeah, this was fun. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here. And for everybody else out there, we'll be back again tomorrow with another Shadow Short. So have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.